Polynesia begins with water, more of it than most people can imagine. A scattered constellation of islands spread across an ocean so vast it could swallow entire continents. From Hawaii in the north to New Zealand in the south, from Easter Island in the east to Samoa in the west, this is not one place but thousands, connected by the world's largest body of water. The Pacific Ocean covers nearly a third of Earth's surface, and somewhere in its blue immensity lie these islands. Volcanic peaks rising from abyssal depths, coral atolls barely breaking the surface, lagoons so clear you can see shadows of fish on sand 40 feet below. What makes Polynesia remarkable is not just geography, but the feat of human navigation that settled it. Long before European ships crossed oceans with compasses and maps, Polynesian voyagers read the stars, the waves, the flight of birds. They sailed double-hulled canoes thousands of miles across open water, finding specks of land most sailors would never see. The word Polynesia comes from Greek meaning many islands, and that's exactly what it is. A cultural region linked by language, tradition, and an understanding of the sea that runs deeper than words. The story of these islands begins millions of years ago, written in fire beneath the waves. In the middle of the Pacific, the Earth's crust moves slowly over hotspots, plumes of magma rising from deep in the mantle. As the tectonic plate drifts, the hotspot stays put, punching through again and again. The result is a chain of islands, each one a snapshot of volcanic birth frozen in time. Hawaii shows this process in slow motion. The Big Island, officially named Hawaii, sits directly over the hotspot today. Its volcanoes are still growing, still erupting, still adding new land to the Pacific. Meanwhile, the islands to the northwest, Maui, Oahu, Kauai, grow older and quieter, their volcanoes extinct, their peaks eroding under rain and wind. Kilauea, one of the world's most active volcanoes, has been erupting almost continuously since 1983. Rivers of molten rock flow down its slopes, hissing into steam when they meet the ocean. At night, the glow is visible for miles, a reminder that these islands are not finished being made. The Big Island's landscape is raw. Black sand beaches stretch along the coast, formed from lava shattered by waves. Punaluu Beach, one of the most famous, is a striking expanse of jet black sand where green sea turtles haul themselves onto shore to bask in the sun. These honu, as Hawaiians call them, are protected, revered creatures that have nested on these beaches for generations. Barren lava fields cover vast areas, some smooth and ropey pahoho lava, others sharp and jagged AA. In places, the rock is still warm underfoot. Hawaii volcanoes. National Park protects much of this landscape, offering trails that wind through steam vents, collapsed lava tubes, and craters that glow red after dark. But life returns quickly. Hardy ferns push through cracks in fresh lava. Native ohia trees colonise the slopes, their red blossoms bright against black stone. Within decades, what was once lifeless rock becomes forest. Higher up, the island's two largest volcanoes, Mauna Kea and Mauna Loa, rise above the clouds. Measured from the ocean floor, Mauna Kea is the tallest mountain on Earth, taller even than Everest. Its summit, at nearly 14,000 feet, is so high and so clear that astronomers built observatories there, among the best in the world. Snow falls on Mauna Kea in winter, snow on a tropical island. The contrast captures something essential about Hawaii. These are not simple places. They contain multitudes. On the western coast, Kailua Kona serves as the island's tourism hub. Resorts line the shore, and the town's historic district retains traces of Hawaiian royalty. Hulihe Palace, a former vacation home of Hawaiian monarchs, sits right on the waterfront, its walls holding artifacts from the kingdom's final decades. Just north lies Pu'uhonua or Honaunau, a place of refuge. In ancient Hawaii, breaking kapu, sacred laws, meant death. But if lawbreakers could reach this sanctuary before being caught, they were forgiven and allowed to return home. The stone walls still stand, massive blocks fitted together without mortar, enclosing a sacred ground where tiki's carved wooden figures stand watch over the temple platforms. West of the Big Island, separated by a channel of deep water, lies Maui. The island is shaped like a figure eight, two volcanic masses connected by a low valley. The western half, older and drier, rises to Haleakala, a massive shield volcano whose summit crater stretches 7 miles across. Haleakala means House of the Sun, and according to Hawaiian legend, the demigod Maui climbed to its peak and lassoed the sun, slowing its journey across the sky to give his mother more daylight. Whether or not the story is true, sunrise from Haleakala feels mythic. Above the clouds, the first light turns the crater floor into a landscape of reds and greys, cinder cones rising like islands in a sea of mist. The crater itself is not technically a crater, but an erosional valley carved by wind and water over millennia. Still, the name stuck, and the place feels otherworldly. Hikers descend into the basin on trails that wind past silversword plants, endemic succulents that grow nowhere else on Earth. They bloom once in their lifetime, sending up a tall stalk covered in purple flowers, then die. Below Haleakala's eastern slopes, the Hana Highway winds along Maui's northern coast. It's one of the most scenic and treacherous roads in Hawaii, 64 miles of hairpin turns, one-lane bridges, and waterfalls pouring straight onto the pavement. The road passes through rainforest so thick it blocks the sun, past taro patches and fruit stands, toward the remote town of Hana. The drive is not about the destination, it's about the journey. Every curve reveals something new: a hidden beach, a plunge pool, a view of the coast stretching into blue distance. Waihanapanapa State Park offers a black sand beach framed by lava cliffs and sea caves where legend says a Hawaiian princess once hid from her jealous husband. On Maui's western edge, the resort town of Lahaina once served as the capital of the Hawaiian Kingdom. In the 19th century, it was a whaling hub, hundreds of ships anchoring offshore each season. Today, the town's historic core reflects that past. Narrow streets, wooden storefronts, a massive banyan tree planted in 1873 that now covers nearly an acre, its aerial roots forming a maze of trunks and shade. In August 2023, a wildfire swept through Lahaina, destroying much of the historic district and killing over 100 people. The recovery continues, a painful reminder of how quickly fire can reshape these islands and the communities that call them home. Northwest of Maui, Oahu holds Hawaii's capital and most of its population. Honolulu sprawls along the southern coast, a modern city pressed between mountains and sea. For most visitors, Oahu means Waikiki Beach, a 2-mile crescent of sand backed by high-rise hotels. The beach is artificial in some sections, sand imported to replace what erosion has taken, yet it remains iconic, perhaps the most recognizable beach in the Pacific. Outrigger canoes launch from the shore, offering tourists a taste of traditional Hawaiian watercraft, while surfers ride the gentle waves that made Waikiki famous long before concrete towers arrived. Above Waikiki, Diamond Head rises in a perfect cone. The crater, formed by a single explosive eruption roughly 300,000 years ago, became a military lookout in the early 20th century. Bunkers and observation posts still dot the interior. Today, a trail leads to the summit, offering views across Honolulu and the Pacific beyond. hike is steep but short, and at the top, the entire city spreads below. A grid of streets ending at the reef line, where waves break white against blue. On the opposite side of the island, the North Shore is known for something else entirely: winter waves. From November through February, swells generated by storms thousands of miles away roll into the North Shore's reefs. Waves can reach 30 feet, sometimes more. Pipeline, Sunset Beach, Waimea Bay, these are names surfers speak with reverence and fear. The water here is not gentle, it's powerful, unpredictable, and unforgiving. Pipeline is perhaps the most dangerous wave in the world. It breaks over a shallow reef in perfect, hollow barrels. Surfers who ride it are among the best on Earth, risking their lives for a few seconds inside a cylinder of water. Wipeouts can be catastrophic, bodies slammed into coral or held underwater by successive waves. In summer, the North Shore calms. The same beaches that attract professional surfers in winter become family-friendly swimming spots. Waimea Bay, famous for its massive winter swells, transforms into a tranquil lagoon where children leap from the famous jumping rock. But Oahu's most sombre landmark lies in a harbour on the southern coast. Pearl Harbor, December 7th, 1941. The attack that brought the United States into World War II. The USS Arizona Memorial sits above the sunken battleship, a white structure floating on the water. Oil still leaks from the wreck below, rising in slow droplets to the surface, called the Tears of the Arizona. More than 1,100 sailors remain entombed in the hull. Visitors arrive by boat, standing in silence above the grave, reading the names of the dead engraved on marble walls. Nearby, the USS Missouri, the battleship where Japan signed the surrender documents in 1945, is docked as a museum. The contrast is deliberate. The beginning and end of America's war in the Pacific anchored in the same harbour. Far to the southeast, beyond the reach of any other Polynesian island, lies one of the most isolated places on Earth. Easter Island, known to its people as Rapa Nui, sits more than 2,000 miles from the nearest continent. It's a small triangle of volcanic rock, just 63 square miles, lost in an ocean that stretches endlessly in every direction. The island is famous for one thing: the moai. Nearly 900 stone statues, some weighing over 80 tons, scattered across the island. Carved from volcanic tuff at the Rano Raraku quarry, they were transported miles to coastal platforms called ahu, then raised upright to face inland, watching over the villages. No one knows exactly how they were moved. Theories range from wooden sledges to rocking the statues upright in a walking motion. What's clear is that the effort was immense. Entire communities organised around carving, transporting and erecting these figures. At Rano Raraku, nearly 400 moai remain in various stages of completion, some still attached to the rock face, others half buried on the slopes, abandoned mid-transport when the society collapsed. The moai represent ancestors, chiefs who became guardians after death. Their oversized heads and stylized features follow a consistent design, yet each one is unique. Some wear pukao, cylindrical redstone top knots weighing several tons, quarried from a different site and placed atop the heads. A few have white coral eyes, making them seem disturbingly alive, their gaze fixed on the villages they once protected. But the moai tell a darker story too. By the time Europeans arrived in the 18th century, most statues had been toppled. Civil war, resource depletion, environmental collapse. The island's forests were gone, cut down to move the statues and clear land for farming. Without trees, the soil eroded. Without wood, the people couldn't build canoes to leave. The population crashed and the survivors turned on each other, toppling the moai in a final act of cultural disintegration. Rapa Nui is often held up as a cautionary tale, a society that consumed its resources until it collapsed. The truth is more complicated, involving not just internal collapse but also external pressures, including slave raids by Peruvian ships in the 1860s that decimated the population. Still, the lesson remains: islands have limits. Today, restoration efforts have re-erected many of the moai. At Ahu Tongariki, 15 statues stand in a perfect line, the largest restored ahu on the island. At sunrise, they're silhouetted against the Pacific. Stone sentinels facing a horizon their carvers crossed centuries ago. The site was restored in the 1990s after a tsunami in 1960 scattered the statues inland, another reminder of the forces that shape these islands. West of Easter Island, back toward the centre of Polynesia, lies French Polynesia. 118 islands scattered across an area the size of Europe, though the land itself could fit inside Rhode Island. The Society Islands are the most visited, and Tahiti is their heart. Tahiti is large by Polynesian standards. Formed by two volcanic masses connected by an isthmus. Papeete, the capital, is a bustling port town, the economic and political centre of French Polynesia. Markets overflow with tuna, breadfruit, and vanilla. Trucks painted in bright colours serve as public buses called Le Truck, rattling through town on routes that somehow everyone understands, but no tourist can predict. French is spoken alongside Tahitian, a reminder of the colonial ties that still shape the region. Outside Papeete, Tahiti's interior rises into jagged green peaks. Waterfalls cascade down sheer cliffs, some accessible only by helicopter. The coastal road circles the island, passing through small villages where outrigger canoes rest on black sand beaches. Life here moves slowly, shaped by the rhythm of the tides and the seasons. At the southern tip of Tahiti, the Tuamotu wave breaks with terrifying power. It's considered one of the heaviest waves in the world, a thick, hollow barrel that throws itself over a shallow reef. Professional surfers come here to test themselves and every year, Wipeout send people to the hospital. The wave is so iconic that it was chosen as the surfing venue for the 2024 Paris Olympics, despite being 10,000 miles from France. But Tahiti itself is often just a stopover. The real attraction lies northwest. Moorea, Tahiti's sister island, sits just 10 miles across the Sea of Moons. From the air, its silhouette is instantly recognizable. Two deep bays, Openohu and Cooks, cut into the northern coast, separated by a narrow ridge. Mountains rise in sharp pinnacles, their slopes covered in dense forest. The peaks, particularly Mount Rotui, are remnants of the volcano that built the island, now eroded into dramatic spires. The island is smaller, quieter, more relaxed than Tahiti. Resorts cluster along the coast, but much of Moorea remains undeveloped. Pineapple plantations cover the interior valleys, the fruit grown here considered some of the sweetest in the world. Fruit stands line the roads, selling fresh pineapples for a few dollars, sliced and ready to eat. The pace of life slows. There's no rush, no urgency, just the sound of waves and the occasional truck rumbling past. And then there's Bora Bora. If Polynesia has an icon, it's Bora Bora's lagoon. Turquoise water so vivid it doesn't look real. A barrier reef encircling the main island, creating a protected basin of shallow, warm water. Small motus, coral islets, dotting the reef. Their white sand beaches framed by coconut palms swaying in the trade winds. At the centre, Mount Otomanu rises in a dramatic spire, the remnant of an ancient volcano long since eroded. The peak is too steep to climb without technical gear, but it dominates every view, a perfect backdrop to the lagoon below. Next to it, Mount Pahea offers slightly easier access, though still a challenging hike through dense jungle. Bora Bora became famous after World War II, when American soldiers stationed there returned home with stories of paradise. Tourism followed and the island transformed. Today, overwater bungalows stretch across the lagoon, luxury resorts catering to honeymooners and celebrities. Some bungalows cost thousands per night, complete with glass floors so guests can watch fish swim beneath their beds. The lagoon itself is the main attraction. Snorkeling reveals gardens of coral, schools of tropical fish, the occasional black-tipped reef shark gliding through the shallows. The water is warm, clear, and impossibly blue, shading from pale turquoise near shore to deep sapphire beyond the reef. Stingrays gather at certain spots, accustomed to being fed by tour operators, gliding around swimmers with surprising grace. But Bora Bora's popularity comes with costs. The island struggles with the environmental impact of mass tourism. Coral reefs show signs of stress from sunscreen chemicals and boat anchors. Lagoon water quality has declined in some areas as resorts expand. It's a delicate balance, preserving the beauty that brings people here while managing the pressure their presence creates. South of French Polynesia, beyond the reach of luxury resorts, lies Samoa. These islands are different, less polished, more traditional, deeply rooted in Fa'a Samoa, the Samoan way of life. Samoa is made up of two main islands, Upolu and Savaii, along with several smaller ones. Upolu holds the capital, Apia, a small city that feels more like a large town. Churches dominate the skyline, their bells marking the rhythm of daily life. Christianity arrived with missionaries in the 19th century and reshaped Samoan culture, though many traditional practices endured. Sunday is sacred, a day of rest when even tourists are expected to respect the quiet. The southern coast of Upolu is lined with beaches and swimming holes. Lalamanu Beach, with its white sand and coconut palms, is one of the most photographed spots in Samoa. The water is calm, protected by an offshore reef, perfect for swimming and snorkeling. Small fails, open-sided beach huts line the shore, offering shade and a place to rest. Tesua Ocean Trench, a pair of giant swimming holes connected to the sea by underground tunnels, draws visitors who descend a long ladder into the clear water below. The trenches were formed when lava tubes collapsed, creating deep pools surrounded by lush gardens. Swimming here feels surreal, floating in fresh water while knowing the ocean churns just beyond the rock walls. Savaii, the larger of the two main islands, is quieter and less developed. Much of its landscape is covered by lava flows from eruptions in the early 20th century. The Saliaula lava fields stretch for miles, black rocks swallowing villages and churches. A church ruin still stands, its stone walls half buried in hardened lava, a stark reminder of nature's power. The congregation fled as the lava approached, and the building was consumed, becoming an eerie monument to the eruption. At the northern tip of Savaii, the Alafaga blowholes send jets of seawater shooting into the air. Waves crash into underwater lava tubes, compressing air and water, then releasing them in explosive geysers. On a big swell, the spray can reach 100 feet. Local guides sometimes throw coconuts into the blowholes, watching them shoot skyward like cannonballs, a demonstration of the raw force at work. Samoa is also a place of deep tradition. Villages are governed by moai, chiefs chosen by extended families. Land is communally owned, not bought or sold. Decisions are made collectively, with the village council weighing in on matters large and small. Sunday is sacred, reserved for church and rest. Visitors are expected to respect local customs, dress modestly, covering shoulders and knees, and understand that tourism here operates on Samoan terms, not the other way around. East of Samoa lies Tonga, the only Pacific island nation never colonized by a European power. Tonga is a kingdom, one of the few remaining monarchies in the Pacific. The royal family traces its lineage back over 1,000 years, and the king still holds considerable influence over the country's government and culture. The current monarch, King Tupu VI, ascended the throne in 2012, continuing a dynasty that has ruled these islands for centuries. The islands are divided into three main groups: Tongatapu in the south, Ha'apai in the centre, and Vava'u in the north. Each has its own character, its own rhythm. Tongatapu, the most populous island, holds the capital, Nuku'alofa. The city is small, dusty, and unpretentious. Markets sell root vegetables, fresh fish, and woven mats. The Royal Palace, a white Victorian-era building, sits behind a large iron fence, modest by royal standards, but significant in a place where tradition carries such weight. The palace is not open to tourists, but its presence looms over the capital, a symbol of continuity in a changing world. Outside the capital, Tongatapu's coastline is rugged. The Ha'amonga, a Maui trilithon, a massive stone archway built from coral limestone blocks, stands in the island's interior. Each vertical stone weighs over 40 tons, and the lintel stone another 10. No one knows exactly when or why it was built, though local legends connect it to the 13th century Tui Tonga dynasty. Some believe it served as an astronomical calendar aligned with the solstices. It's often called the Stonehenge of the Pacific. Though the comparison feels forced, it's impressive in its own right, a testament to the engineering skills of ancient Tongans. Along the southern coast, the Mapua Avaya blowholes rival Samoa's in power and spectacle. Waves crash through holes in the coral reef, sending plumes of spray 30 feet into the air. On calm days, the blowholes barely whisper. During storms, they roar, the ocean's fury channeled through narrow openings in the rock. Vava'u in the north is a sailor's paradise. The archipelago consists of one main island and dozens of smaller ones, creating a sheltered network of channels and anchorages. Yachts from around the world gather here, especially during the cruising season from May to October. The main town, Neiafu, sits on a natural harbour, its waterfront lined with cafes and supply shops, catering to sailors. But Vava'u is best known for something else: humpback whales. From July to October, humpback whales migrate from Antarctica to Tonga's warm waters to breed and give birth. Tonga is one of the few places in the world where swimming with humpback whales is legal. Under strict regulations, small groups are allowed to enter the water and observe these giants up close. Guides ensure that interactions are respectful, keeping distance, avoiding sudden movements, letting the whales control the encounter. A humpback whale can reach 50 feet long and weigh 40 tons. In the water, they move with surprising grace. Their massive bodies gliding through the blue. Mothers swim slowly with their calves, teaching them to breach and dive. The calves are playful, curious, sometimes approaching swimmers with an innocence that's almost childlike. Males sing, long haunting songs that carry for miles underwater, complex melodies repeated with variations, their purpose still not fully understood. Swimming alongside a whale is not just rare, it's profound. You're suspended in open ocean, weightless, watching an animal that could crush you with a flick of its tail, yet chooses not to. The whales are curious, sometimes approaching swimmers, their eyes tracking movement, their massive heads turning to get a better look. It's not dominance or fear, it's something else. Recognition, maybe. An acknowledgement that we share this ocean, even if we understand it differently. The Polynesians who first settled these islands understood the ocean in ways most modern people cannot. They navigated by stars, reading constellations that rose and set at predictable points on the horizon. They watched the swell patterns, the way waves refracted around distant islands, creating pathways visible only to trained eyes. They followed seabirds, knowing certain species only flew within range of land. They read the colour of the water, the shape of clouds, the feel of the wind. Their canoes, double-hulled vessels capable of carrying entire families along with food, water, livestock, and planting materials, were engineering marvels. They could sail into the wind, tack across currents, and cover thousands of miles without losing their way. The hulls were carved from massive logs, lashed together with cordage made from coconut fibre. Sails were woven from pandanus leaves. Every piece of the canoe was built by hand using tools made from stone and bone. This wasn't luck, it was skill, accumulated over generations, passed down through oral tradition and hands-on training. Young navigators learned by doing, apprenticing under masters who could read the ocean like a map. They memorized star paths, wave patterns, and the signs that indicated land was near. A certain bird, a shift in the swell, a floating log, all were clues in an invisible web of knowledge. In the 20th century, much of this knowledge was nearly lost. Modern navigation tools, motorboats, and airplanes made traditional methods seem obsolete. Elders died without passing on their skills. Languages shifted. Children learned math and science instead of star navigation and canoe building. But in the 1970s, a revival began. The Polynesian Voyaging Society built Hokulea, a replica of an ancient double-hulled canoe, and trained navigators in traditional techniques. The project was controversial. Many doubted it would work, believing that ancient navigation was either myth or too difficult to recreate. In 1976, Hokulea sailed from Hawaii to Tahiti using only traditional navigation. No compass, no sextant, no GPS, just stars, waves, and the skill of navigator Maupiailug, a master from the Micronesian island of Satawal. The voyage covered over 2,500 miles of open ocean and took 33 days. The landfall was exact, proving that the old methods still worked. Since then, Hokulea has sailed around the world, spreading the message of cultural revival and environmental stewardship. It's more than a boat. It's a symbol of what was almost lost and what can be reclaimed. Crew members train in traditional navigation, learning the same skills their ancestors used. The canoe visits schools, communities, and festivals, connecting Polynesians across the Pacific to their shared heritage. Polynesia's story is one of resilience. These islands have endured volcanic eruptions, tsunamis, cyclones, colonization, and now climate change. Rising seas threaten low-lying atolls, places like Tuvalu and Kiribati, where the highest point is only a few meters above the ocean. Warming oceans bleach coral reefs, the foundation of lagoon ecosystems. Stronger storms batter coastlines, eroding beaches and destroying homes. Yet the people remain. They adapt, they rebuild, they hold on to the traditions that connect them to their ancestors and to each other. On islands where land is scarce and resources limited, community is everything. Families share, villages cooperate, and the collective good takes precedence over individual gain. The ocean that once isolated these islands now links them. Tourism brings economic opportunity but also challenges. How do you share paradise without destroying it? How do you preserve culture while embracing change? How do you balance the need for development with the need to protect fragile ecosystems? These are not easy questions, and Polynesia doesn't have all the answers, but the islands endure. The volcanoes still rise from the sea floor, adding new land to the Pacific. The waves still crash on coral reefs, shaping shorelines with patient violence. The whales still return each year, singing their ancient songs. The stars still guide those who know how to read them. And the people, descendants of the greatest navigators the world has ever known, continue to live on these scattered specks of land, connected by water, tradition, and an understanding that the ocean is not a barrier, but a highway, not an enemy, but a home.